most agency owners struggle to break past 15,000 a month. And whilst it's hard to pin down the exact numbers, chances are if you're watching this video, you are part of that stat. But over the last 18 months, I've been on a mission to change that. So let me show you how to break through this. Let's start with why 90% of agency owners never break past that 15,000 a month, because it's not luck, it's not the market, and it's definitely not talent. It's 3 core mistakes that people don't even realize that they're making. And before I go into all 3 mistakes, I want you to click off this video if your agency revenue is 0, because this video is not going to be suited for you. Feel free to check out some of my more beginner-friendly videos, and make sure you follow along if you are here to stick around and learn how to scale. Now I'm going to switch so you can see my laptop and we can go through the 3 key mistakes as well as how you can start to implement these changes into your agency today so that you can fast track that process going from 5 to 15,000 a month. Okay guys, so we switched over to the laptop screen, and what I've done is I've broken down 3 key pillars with 5 actionable steps per key pillar so that you guys can use this to scale your agency from 5 to £15,000 a month, or $15,000, whatever your preference is, depending on where you're located. So pricing transition is the number 1 thing to begin with. And what do I mean by pricing transition? Well, there's a couple of things. First one, retainers. Second one, setup fee, but also the way that you're actually selling your service. Okay, so let's break this down into the key actionable steps. Stop selling ads management. Instead, sell a high value outcome driven service. This could be anything from a build and release, anything from leveraging AI, whatever it is within your service. We need to be thinking about what is the return on investment for our ideal customer profile, because that is the most important thing that you can integrate into a business. Especially when you're a social media marketing agency, the most important thing that you need to be focusing on is driving revenue into their business. So we need to be thinking about what can we add to ensure that we have a high value outcome driven service. Then switching retainers. Now, some of you guys know I run a very large agency network called Client Capital. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you do check it out, because there's guys in there doing 20K a month, 30K a month, and there's also guys in there that are just starting out as well. But the reason why I brought that up is I see some guys in Client Capital Network, they're starting off with their retainers at £500 a month. They then get to 5K a month and they stay at £500 retainers. And unfortunately, what happens is this creates a negative effect when you start scaling. You actually want to be able to increase your retainers so that your retainers are a 3K to a 5K baseline. High ticket clients respect high ticket pricing. If you approach a really value driven client, you approach a relatively good sized client and you charge them £500, they will genuinely think your service is laughable. Okay, so what you want to be able to avoid is getting onto a sales call and losing that prospect by pricing too low. One rule that I like to have is if you are not handling objections on your pricing is too low. So make sure that you bear that in mind. If your sales calls are going very smoothly and people are just signing you left, right, and rhubarb, but you're signing clients at £500 a month, you need to then transition into a much higher ticket retainer. Remember, this isn't just about generating more revenue. This is about generating more time. Once we get more time, we can then, focus on scaling the business. Hence why you're watching this video today. Leveraging social proof properly. Now, before you look at me and you say, why is this in pricing transition? Let me explain. You can't just triple your retainer overnight, especially without leveraging social proof and testimonials. So what I want you guys to do is, a lot of you guys have case studies, you have testimonials, especially if you're at 5K a month now, but you're not leveraging them enough. Make sure they are all over your website, your landing page, your demo presentation. Shout about them, make sure they're relevant. In fact, do client interviews. Make your prospect feel comfortable with making that decision so that when you get on a closing call, you don't have that trust issue that you're always facing. Then stop offering any form of guarantees. Now, this is definitely a controversial one, but I will say this. Honestly, guarantees bet on your ability to deliver, okay? I really think it puts off so many clients. If they ask you for a guarantee, learn how to handle that objection confidently. In fact, I will create a video so that you guys can learn how to handle that objection. But stop offering any form of guarantee. It actually makes you look worse. I truly believe that. In fact, there's a guy called Shan Hanif. He scaled his agency to 9 figures. Incredible guy. He also says the same thing. Guarantees are really bad for your agency. I personally never use any guarantees in my agency. I run a 7-figure agency and 2 6-figure marketing agencies, and we have never used guarantees to get clients over the line. So just make sure that you understand that guarantees are not imperative for when you're first starting out. Cool. Setup fee. Now, I wanted to kind of explain this pricing transition. So a setup fee here of £12,000, okay? This actually covers 90 days. So it's essentially a 4K retainer. And the reason why I'm basically saying this is because when you're pitching this to a client, some clients look at retainers as their cash flow. So they don't want to pay a recurring revenue retainer because they're a little bit, unsure as to whether you're going to deliver. Whereas a super high setup fee, which actually covers your retainer for 30 days, could have the same effect for you where you have a scalable model and they think more about what they've got in their bank account currently rather than what they're going to have in the next couple of months. Predictable client acquisition system. Now, this is a given. When you are at 5K a month, you need to be able to implement a predictable client acquisition system because it is imperative that you focus on shifting all of your time from service delivery into sales. Now, you can try this. Again, controversial opinion, but 3 different funnels, same service, okay? So you're literally creating 3 different funnels all into the same service. And you can actually target different ICPs for this, okay? So it could be a VSL targeting one specific ICP. It could be a lead magnet targeting another specific ICP. And then it could be a free strategy call targeting another specific ICP. And essentially what we're doing is funneling it into the same product or service that you guys have. Then it comes on to outbound. Now, a lot of people stop outbound when they run an inbound system, which to be honest with you is ridiculous because outbound is low cost, low effort. You can automate email marketing. You can send out 5,000 emails a month and you can also automate LinkedIn. Okay, those 2 things, super easy to automate. Make sure that you're doing that. It's running in the background. It's more discovery calls. It's more sales calls. It's going to get your name out there. And in fact, sometimes they might even sign up to your ad and they've already received an email from you from your cold approach because they're your ICP. So it's always a good thing to have in the background. Then the next point, track everything. I mean everything. This is going to help you identify any bottlenecks in the business. So from a sales aspect, it could be show up rate, it could be close rate, okay? From a business aspect, whether you're running an inbound system, it could be customer acquisition cost, it could be lifetime value. You need to know your numbers. So many agency owners are at 5K a month and they don't even know how much they're spending, how much they're making. This is a problem. So make sure that you're focusing on your numbers, living and breathing on your numbers. In fact, if you do want the spreadsheet that I use that breaks down every single element, just comment spreadsheet and I will send it to you directly. And I hope that helps you guys kind of scale to that next level. Now, every lead is an opportunity. You need to be doing follow-ups, not just automated nurturing. So what you'll find is when people get to about 5-10K a month, and if you're watching this video, it's probably you kind of stop following up with people, right? You do a sales call, you put so much energy in terms of getting that prospect on the call, and then you do an occasional follow-up here, there, and everywhere, or an automated sequence. We got to scrap that. Every lead is genuinely an opportunity, and it doesn't matter whether you're doing 20K a month or 100K a month. You need to make sure that you take that lead on a proper journey so that you can get them to that next level. It's super important for you guys when you are starting your agency journey to realize that anyone that comes through your inbound system or anyone that comes through your outbound system needs to be nurtured continuously. And even if they don't close, you get them in the future, because this is what is going to help you get a much more repeatable client acquisition machine. Now we move on to the more organic side of things. So subject matter expert driven content. And we're talking long form here. Long form, like on YouTube, I get a lot of my customers for Client Capital on YouTube just by people watching these videos, and they know how awesome I am when it comes to actually scaling agencies and implementing these systems, and they come directly through. Now, with your agency, regardless on the niche, you become a subject matter expert, become the best at your trade, and then people will come to you. So make sure that you are doing organic content. It doesn't matter how many hours a day. I know Hormozy says 4 hours a day, which is important. But even if you can just put aside 1 hour a day to focus on some organic content, that is going to help you build that professional and personal brand in the future. It's one thing I regret not doing at the early stages of my career. So make sure you learn from my mistakes, guys. Doing everything yourself. This seems to be a big problem for guys that are doing 5, 10, 15K a month and you want to scale a little bit further. I've been there. You're trying to juggle so many plates. The first thing you guys should do. Now, again, most of my audience are social media marketing agencies, so I'm going to tailor it to this. You need to hire a media buyer, right? That media buyer is going to handle the fulfillment, but it's also going to handle your inbound system. This should be your first hire. Sales should be your absolute last hire, okay? And I'll get onto that in a second as to why that's so important. But realistically, guys, hiring a media buyer is going to allow you to be able to have 5, 10 clients completely off your plate, apart from customer success, retention, and reporting. But again, my last point in this video is about customer success, retention, and reporting. So we will cover that. And the reason why I said hire a sales guy last is because you should be the forefront of your business until you are absolutely maxed out in your diary. Let's say 10 sales calls a day that are qualified. That's when you remove yourself from sales calls. Do not try and jump the gun too early. Your sales guy won't be happy that they don't have enough lead flow, but also you have the time. So make sure you use the time to be able to close on that business. There's no one else that knows your business more than you. So it leads me on to my next point. Set up SOPs. So as you start to scale, set up SOPs so your team follows the same processes every time. This removes you as the bottleneck, because eventually you will become the bottleneck, right? So you want to be able to build as many SOPs as clear as possible, breaking down every single small task in your agency so that you can then take yourself away from it. So once you've handled the delivery, you need to focus on that sales and strategy. This is going to allow you to spend 80% of your time on sales, upselling, customer success and retention, growing the business, scaling, content, whatever it is, okay? So you got to focus on sales. Sales is your biggest thing. Think about this, guys. It's actually really easy to get to 50K a month. All you need to do is fill your diary. And it leads on to my next point, have a clear, repeatable service with defined deliverables. This isn't going to allow you to just copy and paste your service. But if you think about this, you've got a media buyer that is handling your clients, okay? Let's say 5 to 10 clients. And you've also got a repeatable service that is getting results. All you need to do is get more eyes on your service, which means more content, more ads, scaling effectively, and getting as many calls in the diary as possible. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is systemize onboarding and reporting. This is going to give you a focus on retention and results. That's going to increase that LTV of your customers. So make sure that you have an automated process, but it's still personalized. You need to make sure that you're giving each client, especially when you're only at 5K a month or only at 10K a month, you need to be giving each client the opportunity, that due care and attention that you can give to them so that you can give the best service as possible. So just to recap, guys, the 3 mistakes that people are making every single day when they're trying to scale from 5 to 15K is they're pricing completely wrong, they don't have a predictable client acquisition system, and they're doing everything themselves. So use the Blitzkrieg client capital scaling model here and these actionable steps every single day so that you can get to those numbers. And if you haven't already, check out the link below. That will take you to a little bit more information about my coaching and consulting business, Client Capital, if you do want us to handle your client acquisition for you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.